Justin Holland here with the Mad Insurance Show, making a difference in insurance. We've got a great show for you today. We've got a very special guest that's joining us, and I'm going to get into that in just a moment. But just as a reminder, the Mad Insurance Show is going to discuss all things insurance. We talk about health insurance. Talk about auto and home. We'll talk about the Medicare and the Affordable Care Act chaos that's coming up with individual health. And remember, we've brought up some of those situations regarding employee benefits. But the Mad Insurance Show is a local show here on KTSA. My name's Justin Holland, and I've got Texas State Insurance Services, everything health insurance, and then Palmetto Life Group is where we help you out with the life insurance and long-term care, as well as that Social Security analysis. But we're going to kick off the show right off the bat here, and I'm going to introduce Dr. Joshua Beck with Sanitas here in San Antonio. And before I get him on the mic, I've got to let everybody know that me selfishly, I'm pretty excited about this because in our industry on the Affordable Care Act individual health insurance plan, it can be a struggle to have an individual health provider, a primary care doctor. I've been doing this since 2012 and it's been a struggle for over a decade now. So this is a breath of fresh air where we've got a carrier, United Healthcare and Sanitas coming into San Antonio and not just having one location to help out with our clients, multiple locations to service the San Antonio market. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Dr. Joshua Beck. Joshua Beck, I'm so glad that you're here to join us for the show. And if you can give us some background before we dive into the Sanitas program and the offering and the facilities, let's hear a little bit of your story if you can let us know.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm really grateful to be here, and be able to talk to you, Justin, and also kind of talk a little bit about Sanitas, and this great opportunity that we're going to be having for San Antonio. And so my background, I'm from Texas. I was actually born in Dallas and I was raised in San Antonio. I grew up here. My mom is from Mexico. She's from Guadalajara, and my dad is from California, but I think he was born in the wrong state. Should have been a Texas boy. And I grew up in San Antonio, and I went to med school. I did my undergrad at Baylor. I went to med school in Mexico, in Guadalajara, and I thought that was a great experience. For me growing up in a bicultural household to kind of I guess intertwine with my Mexican roots on my mom's side. I've got a lot of family there, and so I did that. And then I came back. And I did my fifth pathway in New York, and then I did my residency in Iowa, and I moved back to San Antonio. San Antonio is home. My parents live here. My dad's a doc, actually,
No kidding.
and yeah, he was a ER doc, but does primary care and urgent care, medicine now. And and I've been back in San Antonio for 14 years.
Well, we're so glad that you're here. I love hearing the fact that hey, you were in Mexico, family connections to Dallas, California. That's the cool thing about San Antonio, and I think because it's a military city, I mean, not the case for y'all, but for many, we've got a melting pot of people from all over the country and actually all over the world. I've been in a citizenship ceremonies here in San Antonio. Nobody does it like San Antonio, and it was a witness and testament to so many people are calling San Antonio home from all over the planet. And I think we're in a good spot, especially with what we've got to raise our families, have our businesses, and
Yeah,
make a life.
yeah, I would second that, and I would say, San Antonio is not the San Antonio that I grew up in. There's so many people, with diverse backgrounds, different cultural backgrounds. There's I think a growing, Hispanic or, Latino population that has moved here from Mexico and other Latin American countries and just other parts of the United States. There's many great opportunities, in Texas, I think, and San Antonio. You used to think of Houston as being like the melting pot,
Yeah, you're right.
kind of with that, diverse, cultural spread, but San Antonio is quickly, following suit, I would say.
Houston was an option to move when I was coming back to the states, or not the states, but from to Texas, and I chose wisely. I chose San Antonio. I think we both did in that. So thank you so much for kind of giving us a little bit of background and some history. I think that's important for the show, and with you being a guest here, we're going to dive into Sanitas. The program, the facility. what we can expect, with this market, because as you know, we are on the heels of the annual enrollment period for the individual health insurance marketplace, Obamacare, whatever you want to call it. That's what we're getting gearing up and bracing for. A lot of disruptions going on right now. There's uncertainty on extended tax credits that can make plans unaffordable, and that'll be a challenge that we take on, as a broker and agent. But I will tell you, knowing that we've got Sanitas coming here in town with multiple facilities is a breath of fresh air, to where that's one less thing we got to worry about. Hey, we got a primary care doctor, multiple locations that are going to service and that are coming here to embrace those enrollments and those individuals that need the individual coverage and care. Let's talk about the company. If you can give us a little insight on Sanitas, you obviously are recently hired to join them. Would would love your take on, kind of why you did that. Maybe not just the opportunity and the growth, but we'd love to know a little bit about the company and some history on that if we could let the audience know.
Yeah, that'd be great, and, obviously, I came on not too long ago and there was there's a big learning curve, right? I actually, think, Sanitas is really a great company. I think, they will be in San Antonio. This will be a new market, and you're right, Justin. They've positioned themselves well through this, partnership with United Healthcare to help, well position, these clinics across the city, to have access, for this, Obamacare or ACA, patient population. But the company roots, actually started in Colombia and Spain, back, I think in 1980, or, in the 80s. And then from there, it grew really heavily in Colombia, and it has spread through different, Latin American countries. It's in Mexico, and it's actually in, 9 countries, across the world. And they've been in Florida since 2015. They actually recently had their 10-year anniversary there. And so, they started, with a few clinics, and they now have, over 69 clinics. They service, over 500,000 lives in Florida. And so even though they will be, new to the San Antonio market, even though we want, to get, the Sanitas name out there, we really have this experience that stems from Florida. And, I think they really do a great job of, of this integrated model, which we can get into to help take care of these patients.
What I like you're telling me about this is they've got, I mean, they've seen how to do medical healthcare in Latin America. They've obviously been successful in growth in the states with Florida, and you've got some test markets there to really engage the San Antonio market and South Texas market, for that matter, on having, I guess, just our demographic. I think that'll be well received here with what you're telling me on Sanitas being off of that. And I did a little bit of research off of that, but I wasn't sure how long they had been in Florida. And I think Florida and Texas in the health insurance and health coverage industry kind of mirror each other a little bit. So I think that was a good move on Sanitas. Hey, San Antonio, we're going to plant a flag here and have that launch for the area. I Before we kind of talk into the primary care and the services, let's talk about the locations. You've got one just down the road here from the studio that we're recording the show in, and you've got a second location that's going to pop up after that, or possibly already in place. And then we've got what, another 4 or 5 on top of that. Let's talk about locations, because San Antonio is, despite it being a very large city, you can get around pretty good, but sometimes it's just nice having that clinic right down the road from from your home, and that's a nice place to be if you're a primary care doctor. But locations, let's dive into that.
Yeah, so I would say, I mean, I keep coming back to San Antonio. And I've lived in Mexico, and I did an internship in New York, and I did my residency in Iowa, but I keep coming back to San Antonio. But the one negative, that I would say of San Antonio is everything is so widespread. It's such a large city, to travel from one end of the city to the other end of the city. So I think Sanitas did a really good job, Justin, of, having 9 clinics. So there's 9 clinics to start. We have, a couple that have, that are completed, and I guess, are kind of open just, within the company. but there will be 9 clinics
9
total.
total.
And so I think that, where they are situated through the city is really widespread just to allow, patients, to have that ease of access, right? They don't have to travel all the way across to the other side of town and to really hit those neighborhoods where they're situated.
Yeah, I'm looking at the map right here. South 35, you got one kicked off over there on 151, which, man, I can get to Austin quicker in some cases where I live, quicker than I can on the far west side of San Antonio, it feels like. It's so that's nice that you've got a couple clinics over there on that west side, the north side, Stone Oak area, even on the east side, northeast side, that 35 corridor north of San Antonio, Selma Converse area, it looks like as well. So y'all can't see it on the radio show if you're listening or driving into us, but I'm looking at a map and I'm really liking what I'm seeing here to have that many locations to service. And let's face it, the Medicare, that senior market, plenty of facilities all over town for that, but we just really haven't had that opportunity for multiple clinics on the individual health, that under 65 market. So I keep on talking about this. I am selfishly happy about this because this is going to be well received from our many clients. And so we're excited. But I'll name off the 9 locations right here. We've got Alamo Heights, Castle Hills, downtown San Antonio, Leon Valley, Live Oak, Northwest San Antonio, which I brought up, Southside San Antonio, that South 35 area, Stone Oak, and Westover Hills. So that is that's a pretty good portfolio of locations, Dr. Beck.
Yeah, yeah, no, and I would say, of these 9 clinics, they all will have that same modern feel, that Sanitas feel that we're bringing from Florida. So, the clinics will be very open, open space, very modern, and they're really integrated, in the sense that, it'll be kind of a one-stop shop for these patients to go in and see their provider, and really get all their, healthcare needs, whether it's healthcare or whether it's, something outside of that, on the psychosocial aspect, they'll really be able to get their care there. And the other thing I would say is, having Sanitas' origin in Colombia and then Spain, were, those kind of, Spanish roots or, Latin roots were really, really targeting, that kind of Latin and Hispanic culture here in San Antonio as well. Having, bilingual providers,
That's
bilingual
important.
staff, which I think is very, very important, so that they can, understand, many of these, staff are actually from, from the San Antonio area or from Texas.
Very
So
cool.
they understand that, that kind of cultural, ethnicity and kind of that makeup. And
We're all
so
about bringing talent from all over the planet, right? But it's nice to have that local individual
I
here,
think so, that
that
little
knows where you're
touch.
coming from. No, I totally agree with that. So location wise, something just popped in my head is you've got these locations. Not all of them are online yet, but I would imagine come January, people are engaging there. Maybe they're switching to United Healthcare. I've got a lot of clients ourselves with Texas State Insurance Services that will probably make a conversion. It's just out there. Aetna is exiting the market. So millions of people are losing their Aetna individual health insurance plan, and United Healthcare is going to be there as an option. And now we have Sanitas to where we can hit the ground running with a primary care doctor. But where I'm going with this is just, hey, can they visit this one clinic that might be on the other side of town from them in the meantime, and then obviously switch over to the new clinic, that pops up closer down the street from their home. I didn't think that would be a problem, but just want to make sure we're on
Yeah,
the
and
same page there.
I think, Justin, that goes back to that feel, right, with each individual clinic kind of being the mirror image of the other clinic. I mean, obviously, there's going to be larger clinics and smaller clinics,
Yeah,
but they all have that same Sanitas feel, the same branding, the same appearance, that same modern look. And so I think, yeah, I mean, if they see one clinic, they'll have an
be a
idea of
lateral move off
they'll
of it.
have an idea of what another clinic might look like.
Okay,
So,
cool.
yeah.
Couple things that I wanted to talk about on the show with you, and again, I can't thank you for joining us. Just a reminder, you're listening to the Mad Insurance Show, making a difference in insurance. My name's Justin Holland with Texas State Insurance Services and Palmetto Life Group, and we've got a special guest on the show, Dr. Joshua Beck from Sanitas Clinics. And we've been discussing the clinics, the locations, what they're bringing to the table on primary care here in a disruptive potential enrollment season where people could be losing doctors, they could be losing plans. And United Healthcare and Sanitas is going to be a great partnership here for the San Antonio market. So thanks for joining us on the show. And we're going to get back to a few more follow up questions here with Dr. Beck. And then he's got to head back over to a clinic. So, primary care for adults, telehealth, same day walk in visits, it looks like, x rays. Y'all can knock out ultrasounds at select locations, but that's huge as far as having that. Mental health support. We've noticed an increase on that. So that is huge. Nutrition and wellness. I finally, got my act together personally this summer on my nutrition and wellness, and it's been great. So I'm having a clinic that can back that up is great. Care coordination and transitions. Not sure what that is, but I would imagine that's just specialty care. And then secure patient app. We're in a digital age right now, so it looks like you're going to have an app to where clients can check in for their visit, check out, see the notes from the visit, and really see the care that they're getting at their fingertips. It could be at midnight or maybe in an emergency room or to see a specialty doctor, and they need to share that. So let's talk about that, just the care that they're gonna receive there, if we could, Doctor Beck.
Yeah, so, I think, Sanitas, has done a good job in Florida, and I think that they will bring that to San Antonio. And, and with this partnership with United Healthcare, I think that allows for some of those administrative hurdles, to kind of, be set aside so that so that the providers who are seeing patients can really do, what they were trained to do is, take care of patients, right? Rather than, having to jump through hoops to get, things approved. And, I think their model, is a model of, integrated healthcare and, trying to do what we can and trying to offer what we can to best take care of these patients. So whether it's, Sanitas's Be Well program, their mental health program, where providers, will be able to refer, patients for therapy. Will have a chronic care program to take care of those chronic conditions like diabetes, hypertension, congestive heart failure. You mentioned, Justin, a care coordinator is really that individual who will help kind of coordinate the care with those, patients that have those complex medical
Yeah.
conditions. They really need guidance on that. And you're right, we'll have, Sanitas is all about technology. They have a mobile app, where patients can go in and look at their records. They can look at their labs potentially. They'll be able to set up appointments. And you're right, I think a big thing with, with primary care clinics and maybe just clinics in general is access to care. So, having those same day appointments available, having the ability, to walk in to see your doctor, or your doctor's buddy, which, we will also have, nurse practitioners at many of these locations.
Okay.
And so, you'll really be able to get that, that care if you're sick or you're injured, you don't have to wait, a week to be seen, right? And so the idea is to have access.
Let's talk about that too. Just we'll go down a little rabbit hole. Nurse practitioners. That's who I see. I've got one that I see, and I've been pleased. And a lot of people, hey, I want a medical doctor. Listen, I get it. I would too, but we're limited. And we've got some great individuals, whether they be doctors like yourself, NPs that really care. I got to admit, that makes it. If you got the right NP or the right medical doctor, and they get excited when you have some progress. I mentioned this to my wife this weekend. My doctor's like, "Man, you lost some weight. This is great. Your tests are coming out good." I got a cheerleader with that as well. So I'm anxious to see how our clients become patients and build up that relationship with Sanitas because y'all are no doubt planting a flag here with the multiple locations, with the comprehensive care that you're going to be offering for these locations as well. And we can't thank you enough. If you can just, we'll wrap up your visit right now. Just let us know some timelines, what we can expect from Sanitas, and it just that would help us just wrap up the call if you're cool with that.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be fine. I think, Justin, we've got a couple clinics that are kind of open, internally right now. They're obviously, we're scheduling tours, to have people check them out, and kind of get that feel of what the other seven clinics will look like. But I think the idea is, to start seeing patients in January, at the beginning of January. So, the idea is that, my job as the regional medical director for Texas and currently San Antonio, hopefully, Sanitas and United Healthcare will consider other markets down the road.
Yeah.
But I think the idea is to make sure we hire those good providers, right? Those good nurse practitioners, good physicians, hopefully bilingual providers. That's the idea, is to hire those bilingual, providers who will really understand this, this patient population. And, the idea is to have all the clinics up and ready for January. So,
Well, we are with bated breath waiting on that. So I'm so excited you were able to join us. Give us a few minutes, talk about the Sanitas program, the locations. I confidently feel it's going to be well received, and agent brokers like Texas State Insurance Services will be making sure we have that as a review. And we're looking forward to sending our patients your way. So thank you again, Dr. Beck.
well, I thank you for having me. It's been great. I'd be more than happy to come back and, yeah, and look forward to this,
Man, I'd love to have
gr-
you back because we obviously we're on the heels of the Affordable Care Act. We're going to see what these rates look like. There's definitely a disruption coming. So if you're up to visiting before the end of the year, we'll kind of I think we'll have a better game plan too
I think
on
so.
what we can do and engage.
We'll be closer to going live, so to speak. So,
Perfect. Hey,
yeah.
Dr. Beck, thank you again,
Yeah.
and we'll kick off the show with a few more updates and details here. Thanks again.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, everybody, we're back to the show. Justin Holland with the Mad Insurance Show, making a difference in insurance. We just wrapped up an interview with Dr. Joshua Beck from Sanitas Healthcare Clinics that is opening up and kicking off their clinics here for the new year. So I can't thank Sanitas and Dr. Beck for joining us. We're real excited about that partnership between United Healthcare on their individual health insurance plans and the Sanitas clinics, and we're excited because the I think it begs worth repeating on what we have with their clinics and the comprehensive care that you're going to be able to receive from Sanitas. And let's talk about that one more time. Primary care for adults, telehealth is included, same day walk in appointments or just walk ins for your health insurance, which is huge because sometimes we just end up sick and we need to see somebody pretty quick. I am guilty of that as well. X-rays, ultrasounds at select locations. Dr. Beck and I a minute ago were talking about the importance of having an ultrasound there at a primary care facility, which is great. It's convenient. You don't have to go over to another clinic or schedule another time or visit. They can just do that in-house at some of the select clinics that they've got. Mental health support, which is a growing concern for health insurance here in the San Antonio market, all over the country, in South Texas market. Nutrition and wellness programs is huge as well. I'd mentioned and kidded a little while ago. I've been focusing on my health and nutrition since this summer, and it's paying off finally. Finally got my act together on that. Care and coordination and transitions, as well as secure patient app for managing your care. I think these medication or medical apps have come a long way for us to be able to, hey, what was that prescription that I had? When's my next appointment? What did we talk about on my last appointment? They're going to have an app to be able to manage and take a look at your healthcare through the Sanitas Clinic. So, real excited about that. And then 9 locations total. They've got a few of them that have soft opened or launching here shortly. But the locations is going to be Alamo Heights, Castle Hills, downtown San Antonio, Leon Valley, Live Oak, Northwest San Antonio, Southside San Antonio, Stone Oak, and Westover Hills. But so glad we had Dr. Joshua Beck here on the show. It was a great visit with him. We're probably going to have him stop by again, maybe late November, early December, once we have a handle on the individual health insurance plans out there. I'm hoping we have a special enrollment period for health insurance just because of the timing and the disruption that we're seeing on the extended tax credits not getting extended or going away as they're scheduled to do at the end of the year. So that'll be important for us to do a follow up with Sanitas clinics here on their primary care model and how the handful of our clients are going to probably move or segue into United Healthcare individual health insurance plans, especially here for the San Antonio market and South Texas market. So great visit just a minute ago. But again, it's the Mad Insurance Show, making a difference in insurance. My name's Justin Holland with Texas State Insurance Services and Palmetto Life Group. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about and a reminder of our health insurance workshops that we're having weekly at our location here in San Antonio in the Stone Oak area. We've got a workshop around lunchtime. You can reach out to us at 210-880-5316 or visit us online at txstateinsurance.com and schedule a time to or schedule your seat, so to speak, at the luncheons. And we're going to talk about everything health insurance, Medicare. We'll talk about the family glitch individual health insurance scenario that you need to keep in mind, possibly for your health insurance, as well as Social Security. I think a lot of people miss the boat on getting some tips or analysis done on their Social Security, and we're going to help out with those. And just kind of, we only spend an hour on this, so it's kind of just a spearheaded luncheon to talk about those aspects of health insurance. But if you can join us at the office on a Wednesday at from 12 to 1, we'd love to have you. And just again, that phone number to schedule your seat, or maybe just get a link and join us online is 210-880-5316, or visit us online at txstateinsurance.com. So let's dive in and talk about the Affordable Care Act health insurance plans. And I was hoping to have an update on the individual health insurance options out there because we were supposedly going to be able to window shop the new plans for 2026 this weekend. Well, the weekend's over. It is Monday morning, the time that we're taping the show for the week, and we still don't have them. So by the time you hear this show this weekend, though, there's hopefully we'll know more or less where the individual. Actually, I know we will because it'll be November, 1st of November for that. And that is something that we're going to discuss right off the bat for the upcoming show. And we'll send some video clips out there as well. But as a reminder, the individual health insurance plans out there, Obamacare, Marketplace, ACA, whatever you want to call it, those premiums are going to increase. Okay. We're hearing anywhere from 20 to 40% increases in the premium, which is substantial. And then for those individuals that have been able to benefit from the extended tax credits, that's going to possibly, or I mean, not possibly, if they're not extended, these plans are not going to be affordable and they're going to be very expensive. And let's just say a family of 4 to 5. Let's say their current premiums for their plans are $400 to $600 for a reasonable plan. Hopefully with copays, every scenario is different for every family member, for their income, or for their ages. But I think we're going to see premiums in that specific demographic, $400 to $600 go to $1,800 to $2,000. I hope I'm wrong. I'm hoping some carriers are going to come in with aggressive rates and premiums to help offset that for that increase. But kind of all bets are off right now on the individual health insurance market. Right now, we're dealing with the Medicare open enrollment or annual enrollment period that started, and we're having to deal and service people with their plans basically getting deleted, and exiting markets. I was mentioning to Dr. Beck here with Sanitas on the show, and actually out in the lobby when we were visiting before we kicked off the show, of just the absolute disruption we're having with that part of the industry. And then to add insult to injury, a lot of the carriers are not compensating agent brokers for plans. So don't be surprised if your agent is going to try to enforce a fee, or suggest a fee to do a health insurance review, because some of the carriers are not going to pay them to help market or enroll individuals in their plans. It's creating a disruption because I say all of my clients depend on us to size up their situation. The 12 plus years experience we have on individual health insurance, we're able to help them assess very quickly. I mentioned this on the last show. Within about 15 minutes, if we've got the information we need, we can really size up and see what individual health insurance plans are going to work for you. If you don't have an agent or broker, you might not know where to start and to begin. So, where I'm going with this is I think we're going to see a disruption on how agents and brokerages engage the consumers for their health insurance reviews, especially if they're not going to be compensated from the carriers. We just got word, this was last week, I think on Thursday or Friday, I found out, Molina Health is making that decision. Baylor Scott and White is doing that, which isn't real prominent here in the San Antonio or South Texas market, but it absolutely is North Austin, up to Waco and that market. So I'm anxious to see what the rates and plans look like so we can start engaging our clients from all over the state of Texas. Now, do we help people outside of Texas? Absolutely. But, Texas is our market. We can help anybody in the state. We've got a large client base in San Antonio and South Texas, but expect some disruptions, especially in those markets where, carriers are going to be limited possibly. And not only are carriers going to be limited, you're gonna have agent brokers that were initially helping you out. Now it pops in my head. I had a client in the Austin area say, "Hey, my agent broker's just not gonna help me on this plan." I was like, "Well, we'll take a look and see if there's a reason to go to another carrier, but we don't wanna leave them hanging and not do a review." Um, so just if you're needing that assistance with your health insurance plan, you're losing the plan, no matter what's going on your individual health, your employee benefits, or your Medicare, if you're a senior or on a Medicare plan, contact us at Texas State Insurance Services. We'd love to visit with you. That phone number is 210-880-5316. The website, you can visit us online if you want to check us out online, is txstateinsurance.com and fill out our contact form. We've had a handful of individuals uh, visit our site, fill out that contact form, or you give us a call and talk to Lydia at the office and get scheduled. Um, Brought up the fact that we had Sanitas here with Dr. Beck a minute ago, talked about their clinics, talking about a little bit of the news and updates that we've got going on in the individual health insurance market, the Medicare plans that are going away, the group increases. Let's discuss that. We are helping our group benefits clients where they offer group health insurance to their individual employees. Those have been challenging. It's very rare that we didn't have a double digit increase for most of our group health insurance clients. And I think something that we need to discuss, let's go down this road on this conversation here as far as group benefits. A lot of times it's unaffordable to add a spouse, a dependent child or children, one of the other or both to your individual health insurance or your group health insurance plan offered by your employer. If you're an employer listening to this or watching the video, you know, you might say, "Hey, Justin, I've got quite a few employees that, they don't even get on the coverage because if they can't make it affordable for their family members, they're like, well, I'm not just going to put myself on the plan and not the rest of the family." So there's disruptions that have been going on for a decade on group benefits plans being too expensive. And I think there's a solution there. And it's been the family glitch legislation that was finally fixed to where we'll do a review. Even if we're not handling your employee benefits now, we'll help those individual employees get more affordable coverage for their spouse, for their children. And let's at least get them motivated to stay on the group benefits plan and keep that a healthy census on the plan. And then we'll have an alternative for that wife or spouse and the children with more affordable options. Let's talk about an example. I bring this up a lot. It's often that we have the same scenario every week. Family of four out of South Texas. The employee was, "Hey, I love the premium, for myself, but I can't afford to put my spouse and children on there." Well, we were able to shop a plan a little over $100 a month instead of the 1,100 or thousand plus dollars that it was going to cost to put the rest of the family on the plan, and that was a great solution for his family. He stayed on the company plan. The rest of the family was on an individual plan. Weren't identical plans, but everybody had coverage and had peace of mind off of that. So that was a huge breath of fresh air for that individual, and that is a common scenario that we see on the employee benefits side. of coverage and insurance. And with the costs going up on group benefits plans, I will tell you that is affecting those Medicare eligibles. There's a lot of people or employees that are of Medicare age, but they stay on their group employee benefits plans. Now, one caveat to that that you need to be aware of is if your employer does not have 20 full time employees, Medicare is primary. Okay. That had caught a lot of people off guard the past few years where carriers like, hey, you have under 20 full-time employees, and this employee is Medicare eligible. We are not going to pay for these claims. They should have been done on Medicare. Well, I don't have Medicare. I'm on my employee benefits plan. I'm sorry. Now you know you need to be on Medicare because of the size employer that you're on. That was a huge, currently still a huge problem right now. So if you're Medicare eligible, you can absolutely stay on your group plan. A lot of times it makes sense though if your employer has under 20 full-time employees, it's probably realistic to go full-fledged Medicare and not have to double pay for Medicare Part B, which has a premium to it, as well as your group benefits plan. That is a case by case basis. It depends on how generous the employer is contributing or offsetting the cost of the individual health insurance for that or group insurance for that employee. So every scenario is different, but I just want to make sure that we bring out some scenarios and some solutions on those that are Medicare eligible, but still have access to an employer benefits plan. If you're employed by somebody that's over 20 full-time employees, then no doubt you might want to just stick with that depending on what that cost is. Usually the benchmark is if the cost of insurance for your employer sponsored plan is actually higher than what your Part B premium is, it might make sense to stay. I'm sorry, to move to Medicare if that premium's higher on your employee benefits plan. But it's a case by case basis. I had one individual that they were Medicare eligible, but they still had some dependents on the plan, and that was a scenario where we had, hey, they can be on Medicare. They're going to come off of the group benefits plan. And we got the rest of the family members again on Affordable Care Act plans, or ACA was what we call them, the marketplace plans. And it was a reasonable premium. I think it was like $250 for the family members. It was a little bit higher because they were the other spouse that was not Medicare eligible was a little, I think, in their late 50s, and that offsetted that premium, but it was still less expensive than getting the rest of the family on the employee benefits plan. So we'll probably talk about employee benefits on another show. It no doubt, renewals are going on right now, so it's a hot topic if you're running a business or going through that enrollment. But reach out to us at Texas State Insurance Services, and we'd love to help you do a review. And that number again is 210-880-5316, or visit us online at txstateinsurance.com. So we've discussed Sanitas Healthcare. We talked about some of the, you know, situations and scenarios on the individual health insurance market that, man, we're still sorting out. I just on the show, my phone is blowing up with messages of clients and everybody getting referred to us and said, "Hey, I need some help. I need a review." That is going to be a common theme for agents and brokers out there. I will tell you, if you're reaching out to your agent and broker, the first one to tell you, we need some time. Please be patient with us. We have so many people calling in. We want to help you. We want to service you within the deadlines that we've got for your Medicare, for your individual health, and possibly your employee benefits. But the individual health insurance market hasn't even opened up. It won't open up until November 1st. So November 1st is really when we'll get a handle and we can start seeing what we have to work with on those that are under 65 on individual health insurance plans. Medicare it opened up on October 15th, and we are still, scheduling, assessing, taking a look at the Medicare plans for our existing clients and our new clients that are getting referred to us on what their Medicare plan options are. And we're needing a little bit of time because some people are losing plans altogether. Some people are losing benefits on their plan and not realizing that. So that's coming into play. So we're needing to really help size up all of these significant plan changes. And we can do it quickly. I think within 15, 20 minutes on a visit, we're able to assess very quickly, as long as we have doctors' informations, the doctors that you want to have in network, the medications that you're taking, we can help you make that assessment. And then we, make a recommendation and make the plan changes accordingly. So all I can ask is, and we're trying to get back to everybody that we can as quickly as we can, and we want to help you. And if you've got an agent that you're reaching out to that just isn't receptive or reaching back out to you or contacting you, let us know, and we'll have you come by the office. We'll set up an online review, or we'll do a phone and help size up your health insurance situation as soon as we can and within the deadlines according that we've got. And it's just an interesting time in our industry. So we're here to help you. I can't wait to visit with you and see how we can help you with your health insurance needs that you might need off of that. So I had talked about the changes to the Affordable Care Act, what we can expect there, carriers pulling out of the market. Aetna is one of those carriers that's pulling out of the individual health insurance market. So if you're on an Aetna individual health insurance plan, no doubt you're going to want to reach out to us or somebody to review your plans and options so we can help you look at what the new plans are going to look like. Um, I'm hoping, over the next few weeks, we're still in a government shutdown. I will tell you, let me bring this up in the show. Social Security is behind. This is specifically, talking to our Medicare eligible clients. It's taken weeks, I've sometimes months to get, a Medicare enrollment done, and the reason I bring up the Social Security office, a lot of people don't realize that's where the initial enrollment takes place, through their Social Security website or through a phone call or interview with the Social Security Administration to engage your Medicare A and or B, depending on your situation. And my goodness, we had, one individual that they were already on Medicare Part A, and we were trying to get them approved for Part B because they had credible coverage through an employer, and it took months, multiple phone calls. We've got a backline number to the Social Security office here, or multiple Social Security offices here in San Antonio. And I will tell you, we've been having to assist our clients with almost a call daily. Not every client making a call back daily, but multiple clients. We're going to have to schedule. Okay, let's knock out this call early in the morning, Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever it may be. But just to help, figure out and assess their situation with that office. And we're trying to expedite that and educate our health insurance clients on the best way for them to check their Medicare status. But it's taking a little while. And the Social Security Administration, you already had layoffs. We've got a government shutdown going on right now. That can't be helping, the timeline or the backlog of getting your Social Security assessment for your Medicare. And then we've got chaos going on in the industry, plans going away, benefits decreasing on your Medicare plans. So that's changing. You have more individuals aging into Medicare this year than ever before that are becoming eligible for Medicare. And I think something that got overlooked was the fact that with the silver tsunami, so to speak, that we've got going on with the Medicare eligibles of this year more than ever, you've got a lot of individuals that have already been Medicare eligible, and they're saying, "Hey, you know what? We're gonna go ahead and retire. I'm gonna come off of the employee benefits plan that you might have stuck out, and it's time to go full fledged Medicare." So it's kind of the perfect storm this year. Disruptions in the Medicare industry as far as carriers are concerned and plans. So many people, basically a windfall of individuals that are aging in or becoming Medicare eligible this year. And then you've got those individuals that just kind of held out, and now they're just now engaging their Medicare eligibility or enrollment, and it's been a deluge of people calling in, and we welcome it. We're a growing brokerage. We live and die by referral, so we want to help everybody that we can. I will tell you that I am visiting with every enrollment personally. So we're scheduling these appointments, 15, maybe 30 minutes at a time, depending on if it's a couple or we've got a special election or situation for the enrollment for that individual. But I personally am looking at doing 15-minute visits with our clients. We size up the information, we send them a questionnaire, get back the medications and the doctor details. Excuse me, so we can very quickly do an assessment of the health insurance, and we want to make sure we get to everybody that we can, because everybody is going to have changes. It seems like there have been a handful of clients that were able to size up their situation, and they stay put. Like, hey, I'm going to stay on this Medicare medical supplement. I'm going to keep this prescription drug plan. They weren't disrupted, unless they maybe had a prescription drug change and the formulary changed on their prescription drugs. That could have been a scenario. So that's something to discuss when you've got Medicare plans. Just because you get a renewal, it could be a zero premium. You're like, okay, and the cost didn't go up or it remained the same. The benefits could have changed. Your dental benefit on a Medicare Advantage plan could have lowered or increased. A over the counter benefit or a Medicare Part B give back could have been modified or adjusted on your plan, and you don't know that until you do a review. And that's why we want to make sure that we do a quick and assessed review with our clients and those that have referred to us and see if there's any changes. Because the odds are there probably are. And even with those changes, it might not justify exiting the plan unless your plan's exiting altogether. But make sure you reach out to us, line up a review, and we can assess that scenario. I think there's going to be a handful of people that just stay put and they don't need to make any changes. But there's going to be many that are going to need to make some decisions and maybe some tough decisions on their individual health insurance. Again, Justin Holland here, the Mad Insurance Show, making a difference in insurance. We've talked about Sanitas Health Centers opening up in the San Antonio market. We're really excited about their 9 locations. It's going to be able to service our individual clients, specifically those individual health insurance clients that are with a United Healthcare plan. So that will be very well received. I think that will help many individuals that are losing their Aetna plan or just don't like what the cost increase could be for their individual health insurance this coming November. Because remember, you've got November 1st is when we're able to see what the individual health insurance plans look like for 2026. And you have November through December to be able to make some plan changes, maybe get on a plan. I brought this up in one of the other shows. We have a lot of people that just didn't enroll during the annual enrollment period, and this is your time to do that. So make sure you reach out to us and we can do a individual health insurance review. We've got many clients that were clients before and maybe found another agent or broker or they dealt directly with the marketplace. And now they're wanting to visit with us directly. So like, hey, Justin, we need some help and some guidance here. We'd love to revisit with you. And I've got clients that we've had for, well over a decade, and we're picking up clients every week that realize, hey, we care. We want to do a quick assessment and help with a thorough assessment at that and help y'all size up and give you some peace of mind on your health insurance and get that off your plate and worry about other stuff that's going on in your life. So let us know how we can help out with your individual health insurance review or your Medicare health insurance and employee benefits. If you're offering a small employee benefits plan, that dynamic is changing. We've got some pretty cool carriers for you to consider off of that for your individual health insurance. I am also going to talk about life insurance again. It bears repeating on life insurance with living benefits. We're helping a lot of people out with their individual health insurance plans or maybe their auto and home insurance as well. But life insurance, I think, is something that gets overlooked. And it's not just life insurance, it's also life insurance with living benefits. And if you don't know what living benefits are, it's very important that you find out because living benefits are going to help you if you come down with a terminal illness, a chronic illness or injury, maybe even Alzheimer's. So we want to make sure we do a review, not just on your health insurance, but your life insurance as well, because these living benefits can come in handy where you don't have to die to be able to utilize your life insurance. That's tremendous peace of mind for many people out there, and these living benefits are basically, they're accelerated riders that are close to what a long term care benefit would be. Remember, long term care is not covered by your health insurance. The only true way to get long term care coverage from your health insurance is typically if you're have a long term care insurance plan in place, an individual plan, or you qualify for Medicaid. And the only way you're going to qualify for Medicaid is if your income and your assets are at a very low level, and that's where you'll get that benefit. But a lot of people don't realize that until it's too late. So make sure you reach out to us regarding life insurance as well as your long term care insurance needs, and we'd love to help you do a quick review and help how that will complement your health insurance or the other insurance that you have in place. The auto and home insurance is something that we've recently brought on board as well. So if you're an individual and it's time to get an auto and home quote, we'd love to help you with that as well. And we've also can take a look at your umbrella policies, whether you have one in place or you need one. So keep this in mind off of that when you have a moment. The topic I brought up a minute ago on Medicare plans changing is an important one. I want to bring this up one more time before we wrap up the show, and that's benefits changing. I have here in my hand, a benefit summary of a Medicare plan, and typically it'll highlight the benefits that you have in place, and that's really where you can size up and see, hey, where does my plan stand right now? Where are there going to be changes to that plan? What do I need to do or to consider on possibly changing to another carrier? That's an important review and an assessment of your Medicare health insurance plans, specifically if you're on a Medicare Advantage plan. If you're on a supplement plan, whether it be Part G, Part N, an F plan, your Medicare medical supplement really shouldn't have any disruption unless the plan's going away or you're getting a tremendous increase on that plan. But specifically, the Medicare Advantage plans is really where you want to take a look and see if there's going to be any plan changes, and we can help you with that review. I keep on mentioning this. We've got a portal where we can retrieve your doctor's information or your doctors that you're seeing and specialists as well as your medications and help you do a complete and thorough review on what health insurance carriers might benefit you better for yourself or for your spouse. So that is basically what we do day in day out, and we'd love to visit with you and take a look at your individual health insurance options once those open up for November 1st, or your Medicare options. It's currently going through its annual enrollment period right now. If you need a review or an assessment on your employee benefits, you're wanting to offer maybe a group health insurance plan or maybe some dental or vision, long term, short term disability, life insurance through your group, we can help out with that on a review. So just we're a full service insurance brokerage, and we'd love to visit with you and see how we can help with that. But again, it's Justin Holland with the Mad Insurance Show, making a difference in insurance. I have a brokerage here, Texas State Insurance Services and Palmetto Life Group. Both are servicing the San Antonio market with multiple insurance options, and we'd love to visit with you. We're so happy we've got this show on KTSA, bringing awareness on everything health insurance, and we're looking forward to next week's show because hopefully by that time we'll have an assessment on the individual health insurance plans that we're expecting some changes on. So if you can, hold tight for the next show or join us for that next show, and we'll review that as well. But we can't thank you enough for joining us on today's show. And again, that number to reach us if you got any questions is 210-880-5316 or visit us at txstateinsurance.com. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you next week. Take care.